So I've been wondering about like who the natural enemy of Zygarde is. And I think the natural enemy is Necrozma. I look at Necrozma and I see a Pokemon described as the Prism Pokemon. And I look at Lumiose City and I see the Prism Tower. And when you read about Necrozma, you can read about that it once had the ability to give light in its original form, but it lost that ability alongside its true form after being injured by the Ultra Recon Squad's ancestors in an attempt to steal its light.
Their ancestors? The Ultra Recon?
The ancestors of the Ultra Recon Squad injured Necrozma. So we have never seen, and then it's theorized that the Z crystals are pieces of Necrozma.
Totally, yeah. You could see the Necrozma's core right there. That's probably where they would come from. That's I've never heard that part of the lore.
So yeah, and the whole thing is that Kukui and Lily have this conversation where they go, oh, the sparkling stones and the Z crystals used to perform Z moves are fragments of Necrozma's body that it lost when it was injured, and they rained down into Alola. Yeah. So according to the Ultra Recon Squad, the light that radiates from Necrozma is the aura that surrounds the trainer and the Pokemon while performing a Z move. But I think the important thing here is that is that this connection to light, right?
Yes.
And I think they kind of say this thing about Necrozma where it's like in pain and it's like thirsting for light. And its whole thing is that it's trying to suck down more light. And that's why it likes Solgaleo and Lunala, because they have this infinite well of light. And then you take it back, you look at Lumiose City, you look at a city that's being developed, a city that is embracing light, maybe for the first time. Maybe you are building up power plants in the city. In X and Y, there are blackouts that you have to fit. That like all of this stuff comes together, and it's like, how do we translate blackouts into this game? How do we make this a mechanic? How do we do this? How do we do that? But I think what I love the most is maybe this idea of getting this form of Necrozma that nobody has seen before. Yeah. Maybe it's not even called Necrozma at this point.
This would be a Pokemon. Okay, yeah.
Maybe it's called something that starts with an A. And
it's Necrozma backwards.
Yeah, that's what I told him when he told me that. I don't think that's what it is though. It's Zygarde dash
Amzorka.
Amzorkin? Yeah, Amzorkin.
Amzorkin. I think,
yeah. So
that's so cool.
I think,
so Necrozma has, I'm just trying to understand this. Necrozma has a form that we have not seen where it had the power to bestow light. It was a battery of sorts, right?
Yes.
A power source. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's like, I think that there's so much you could do with Necrozma. I think just as a fan, not as somebody logically thinking about this, I just kind of like the idea of, oh man, what if we accidentally do Necrozma origin story?
Yeah.
And we like break its face and we see all the crystals go out and it's like, oh dude, that'd be nuts. But also I think that there's this video gamey part of me that's, I'm not sure particularly how you would write this all out, but I think you could, of maybe Necrozma was, so I like the idea of Necrozma being hurt, being something that happens before the game starts that you experience in the flashbacks I was talking about earlier. So Necrozma is hurt, and maybe the whole game you are going around. If you look at the Prism Tower, the like Eiffel Tower in Lumiose.
Yeah.
There's this very specific thing from the games. Maybe you both remember it, but in X and Y where you see the tower light up and it's like the windows, the levels, it goes ching 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 ching. Do you remember this?
Yeah, when you're playing the game in hold on.
Ching 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 ching.
Do you remember that, Zach?
Yeah, like when you turn the power back on, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, that's it. It's definitely in that little like
There's a little cutscene. Yeah.
yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's so funny.
Yeah, I do know exactly what you're talking about. I played X and Y like 3 months ago, right after they announced Legends EA, so I'm fresh on it.
Yeah. So there's just this like, there's this thing I have in my head of like, oh, okay. You go around the city, you restore power to these areas. It feeds this tower in the middle of the game. and you see
that allows you to see the progression of where you are in the story. Okay, that's really that is nice. Something that we've noted before is that the Lumiose Tower, it's I don't know if it's a gameplay function, but it's like a symbol of the region. Obviously, the Lumiose Tower is a symbol of Kalos. That would make sense, like as a progress marker, to not just have it be a meter like in the UI of the game, but actually have it be like visible to not only you but also the the NPCs throughout the region. That's really cool.
Definitely. And I think you can see in Lumiose City how it kind of feels like there are segments or like important points of interest. And it's like, oh, okay, I can see how, Legends Arceus, you had like the 5 bosses or whatever. And like every time you beat one of these, it's like this thing in the middle of the town. It glows a little brighter.
Sure.
It gets a little more. Yeah. And then maybe that unlocks things that you can do in the town and like, whatever. But I think the way I envision this is that there is like there's somebody who's pretending to be good but is actually bad, and it's like, oh, they're trying to get all of this light to Lumiose Tower, but actually hiding below the tower is sweet little Necrozma.
Yeah.
And he's slurping it up, dude. He's slurping it up.